Welcome to the Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano. Airing live on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM in New Orleans.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Wednesday night segment of The Outer Realm. We are broadcasting live here on the United Public Radio Network, UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 and 107.7 FM from New Orleans. We are also broadcasting live on Roku TV, so go check us out on Roku. We are fully sponsored by the amazing people over at Folgers Coffee, who have been a part of our journey since the very beginning. So big thank you to Folgers. We appreciate you so very much. We're so grateful to have you on board. Like one big happy family. Also, big thank you to Dr. Snick, the sonic surgeon, Justin Snicker, for his sponsorship and contribution of his time, his music, and his voice for, of course, our intro and outro that you just heard. Also, big thank you to Steve McGinnis, the artist behind the artwork here at the Outer Realm. So big thank you to him as well. Tonight, we welcome the return of our dear friend and repeat guest with Open Door Policy, Reverend Michael JS.Carter, who's going to be discussing his latest book, Initiation, The Spiritual Transformation of the Experiencer. I can attest to that. I really can. And more, of course, because we're going to drill them. So what you got, Michael? I know you're hiding stuff. We want it. So get ready for that. But in order to partake in the chat room, guys, head on over to, well, of course, I didn't even give my hello, we're starting soon bit. But anyway, we're over on News on the Flip Side. We're at United Public Radio on Facebook as well. Joe Montel, the UFO Undercover, The Outer Realm, Canada's Most Haunted. You should have the link in the smaller page as well, but you have the bigger page. Also, let's see. Yeah, YouTube. You've got UFO Paranormal. You've got The Outer Realm and Roku. People, get yourselves over to Roku. We'll put that up a little bit later so you can see it. But check it out. So we've got our guest slowly getting ready in the green room. Bubbles, so how's it going?
Okay, how are you? I was just catching up while you were talking. All our guests coming up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just putting some stuff up.
Hi, Wayne. How are you feeling, Wayne? I asked as if he could just answer me right now.
I know. It's well, I can assure you he's starting to feel a little bit better.
Yes. Hello, Marianne.
Marlene, hello.
From Ontario, Canada. That's where we are.
So, yeah, that's it. So I'm just going to put a big hello.
How's that weather?
There. Okay.
So, how's that weather for you right now?
Better, thanks.
Typical March here.
Don't get me started. I want to talk about March. Not my friend. That's all I'm saying.
Well, it's March break, and I'm seeing people's vacation photos, and I'm not happy. It's not making me happy that you're on holidays.
Yeah, that's right. Keep your dang happy photos to yourself in the sunny places.
Beach pictures to yourself. Darn it.
Sitting here with snow. Go away, people.
Yeah. I see one more rum shot in a glass. I'm going to scream.
Pacification. So are we ready for our guest? Yeah.
Always.
Okay, good.
You need to step into the light. I know. I have a migraine coming, so I've got the slightest light on. I don't have my big one. Hi, how are you?
Hey, ladies.
It's all being volatile and everything.
How are you? What's that?
You heard us being all volatile, but people on vacation.
Yeah. Well, it's cold. I mean, it's cold.
I'm jealous.
I don't think we're as cold as you guys, though.
No, I'm just jealous. It's not too cold. I'm just very jealous because I haven't traveled in years. and I'm extremely jealous right now. I am the person who could live in the Caribbean climate. That's who I am.
Yeah, me too.
So I'm having a hard time with it. When I see those pictures of the rum glasses and the waves, I have to go back to my last vacation because I was smart in Barbados. I was up front on the beach and I videotaped, recorded the beach. So I put that on and I just
beaches. I can't.
I am a beach bunny and a snow bunny.
No, I've got to be in the thralls of everything exciting like history and architecture. It's like Hamilton sends me a picture, goes, I'm at my office in Portugal, which is like a freaking restaurant. I'm like, stop it.
Yeah, I got that today.
I see it's sunny over there, and
you look stressed, Hamilton. You look stressed, Hamilton. My heart bleeds for you. Stop messaging me.
Oh God. Anyway, Michael, how are you?
A foot of snow in my front yard.
How are you?
I'm okay. I was, at my age, I have to take a nap before I come on, but the danger of that is always that you can oversleep. But I got up, and I'm refreshed.
Oh, we're glad. Yeah. We look forward to having you. I missed you.
It's been busy. It's been hectic. I don't know whether it's because, I'm not even going to speculate. It's just been busy. It's been kind of nonstop here with church stuff and, trying to keep a work-life balance. And
that's not easy.
Yeah, it's. I don't want to complain. I'm happy about it.
Yeah, you need a beach trip.
But I'm going to do one of those in a not too distant future.
I'll meet you, and then we can send pictures to Hamilton.
Yeah, in a rum glass.
Yeah, I can do a show from there. Where do you want to go? I'll meet you anywhere. Where do you want to go? Seriously, I can do a show from a beach. They have Wi-Fi everywhere. Oh,
I think it's frozen. Frozen or like disbelief.
Oh, yeah, you were frozen.
Oh, I shouldn't have said rum glass, but yeah.
No, it's okay. I'm all for it.
Oh my gosh. I've been looking, forward to the show when you sent a message. Let's just talk about everything. Like, all right, that sounds good.
Yeah. It's so much going on, and life is exciting and scary, and it's life. So anything you want to talk about, I'm open to. If I don't know the answer, I'll say I don't know.
Well, this is not like a quiz thing, like, we've had certain people do to us on our own show, and we failed miserably. So we'll talk about something you do know. I actually am curious, and I would love to, because we talked before about just trying to cover all your books and such, because there's so much information in all of them. But I thought we would maybe just start off, and then we can go all over the place, but talking a little bit about your book, Initiation, the Spiritual Transformation of the Experiencer, because I kind of get that as an experiencer.
You know what? Each book has a story behind it, but I think this one was just because I meet so many people doing these podcasts, and so I meet them virtually. Some people will call, and they just need someone to listen to them, which is what I needed when I was having these experiences, and to affirm that you're not crazy. And that was number one. Number two was, we need the historians. We need the more intellectual side of the phenomenon. I love that. But, it's about the experiencer. And we have people who will write about experiencers. We have people that will talk about experiencers. But I think 2023 is going to be the year of the experiencer. There's so many documentaries coming out, or people trying to get done, where they're having people, just the everyday folk like you and I, but people who are physicists and science who have had these experiences, and they're kind of coming out now. It's timing. And so I think 2023 is going to be the year of the experiencer. And I just think that we need to talk to the people who are actually having the experiences instead of having someone else talk about it. Also, talk about the people having experiences. And also there was the question of people, can I still, be a Christian, can I still be a religious person?
That's a big one
believe
for
in
some people.
UFOs? And so I think people need to have, it's just good to have some support.
Yeah.
And so that's the main reason. Those are the main reasons that I wrote the book. I don't think it's exhaustive, even though I think I got as much information. And there's a little section on relationships, people who are having experiences and their partners aren't, and the changes. A lot of relationships don't survive, especially because one person is changing and evolving and having these experiences, and the other person is like, what is going on? So those type of things.
Right.
Things you can look at that may be clues as to whether you've had an experience or not. Only you can affirm that for yourself. And then obviously there's hypnosis, which is not a perfect technique, but it's sure helped me. Just keep my grasp on sanity as I was trying to process this and get this into my life. At the time I didn't have kids, but I was in a long-term relationship. I was switching careers. As a minister, I had people tell me, if you want to have a career, you should never tell me what you just told me in public, or that kind of thing. So that was really the reason behind it.
Right. That's interesting when you bring up, people who discussing people in relationships. One is evolving and what one isn't. That would be a hard pill to swallow, because some people just, it always amazes me how they can believe in some of the most obscure things. But when it comes to contact or extraterrestrials or...
Well, yeah, it's now I want to be clear. I'm the other person's evolving too at their pace and maybe in a different direction. But if you haven't had these experiences, it's hard because it's high strangeness. I still have my post-traumatic stuff that goes on when I'm home alone. My wife is going away the next 2 weekends for work. And this was 20 years ago, and I still have experiences. Sometimes years in between go by, but it's difficult for me to be home alone since I've been an experiencer.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
really?
sweet that she comforts you.
Well, it's just that she's in the house.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's she's not an experiencer, at least that I know of. But it's because you know how it is. They just show up.
They do.
And
I don't know how
it's not that they won't show up if she's here, but I just have a hard time with. I still keep the light on till the last minute. I wouldn't trade these experiences in, but I mean stuff that I'm sharing with you. When people are just starting to have these experiences, it's like a handbook. You're not crazy. Read this chapter, or these are some indicators.
We'll put it up.
So,
I love it.
Yeah,
Such a pretty cover.
that's what I wanted to do, and with my other books, there's always a backstory to that as well. But I think we need to be taken seriously. I'm part of a group on Facebook. It's called Voices of Experiencers, with some really, really talented folks. It's 5 of us, and we get permission to listen to the hypnotherapy sessions of experiencers, and then we kind of dissect them. And it's really fascinating. We do it. We tape it beforehand, and it airs on Fridays at 8. And you can chat and come in, but just to empower people, just to know that you're not crazy, that you're not alone. That's healing, because that's what we're looking for, I think, when we're having these experiences. No matter how positive you may think they are, or negative you think the experiences are, you need some type
It's
of
intrusive. It's intrusive,
It's
and
that,
it's like having an intruder coming into your home. And usually it's that feeling when you're feeling most vulnerable. You're in your
yeah,
bedroom, you're going to sleep, you're supposed to feel safe
yeah.
and comfortable, and instead you've got company.
You've got company.
Yeah,
A thing
it's
of
true. I know that.
nightmares.
I
You
know it.
have got company,
It's true.
and you may continue to have company off and
Yeah.
on for a while, and
Hmm.
and for me, because I'm wired, I'm not wired so much into propulsion systems and back engineering, even though greater minds than I can do that, and I'm not wired that way. I'm more wired into religious/spiritual
Sure.
interpretations, and I have to be open to everything, because if the only tool you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. But that's
Right.
where I can lend, I think, my gifts
Yeah, because
to
you talked
that part of
extensively
the phenomenon.
the
Yeah.
first show about those connections. Do you feel that because that the church has come out and said, oh, we're going to have to prepare our people for this disclosure, or things coming forward, so there's no panic? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah.
Are you doing that yourself, like with the people of your congregation?
Well, I'm trying. I'm in a very liberal denomination,
Right.
and there are pros and cons to that. I'm a Unitarian Universalist clergy person. Now, my own personal spirituality is very, very eclectic, as you know, and it is influenced by these experiences.
Right.
My congregation, my denomination is usually very educated, which can be a problem. But as Mark Twain said, I was educated once. It took me years to get over it. But they would be more open-minded to this. They're very scientifically based, but I think that they would be more open-minded. I think and I feel that, for instance, Hinduism,
Hmm.
the philosophy of Buddhism, I think a lot of the Eastern religions and philosophies will have a better time with it. I think Catholicism will do well with it, because at least they have saint this, saint that. I think the religions that have are open to deities.
Right.
There may be Brahman, and then you have all the deities. I think Christianity may have a tougher go of it. Which is not to say you can not be a Christian and believe in UFOs or have these experiences. I am not saying that.
Right.
However, you will have to reconcile it if Jesus is Lord and Savior, for instance, if that's your narrative, your belief. Did Jesus go to other planets and have to die for the sins of the graves,
That's a good
of
one,
of of of,
actually.
of the reptilians? I mean, you got to think through
Yeah.
the theological part of it.
Aren't they in another galaxy though?
Well, my point is, you have
Yeah.
to. I'm saying I'm raising the question,
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
good
because if
question.
you're going to be a Christian and maintain that, because maybe some of these extraterrestrials don't need a savior. Maybe some of
Oh,
them created Jesus. I mean, I'm just throwing it out there.
yeah,
I'm not trying to be
we
offensive.
really don't know.
So
We really don't
Christianity,
know.
and
Yeah.
they say it's one
Right.
God.
Right.
So you're going
A
to have to.
universal God. Yeah.
I'm not saying you can't, but you're going to have to navigate all that.
That is tough.
Um,
Him
it's
making
tough.
that announcement though makes you wonder what the world leaders have told Pope Francis.
Yeah, I think Pope Francis is a head of state. They probably know more than they're letting us on to know. But if you look at it, that the religions didn't start out this way, I don't believe, but they got into control, and they got into greed,
Yeah.
and they got into all of that.
Money. Yeah.
Then this phenomenon will shine a light on that. And it's already happening, in the sense that I was reading there was a Pew study that probably by 2030, the United States will be a secular nation. Many people are leaving the church, mainline Protestant Christianity and Catholicism in droves, especially between the ages of 18 and 25, because they're saying the church is not really resonating with our lives and our problems.
Even in Italy, they're leaving it.
I'm sorry?
Even in Italy, which is
all over the world.
They're leaving there as well. There's a lot of Buddhists there now.
All over the world. And so if the church wants to be relevant, you're going to have to take those stories and make them relevant for today. But you're also going to have to, we live in a different world now. And just because there's some things that are true 5,000 years ago, and they'll be true 5,000 years from now. But we live in a world where science and spirituality are closing the gap. I think the UFO phenomenon shows that, because a lot of these beings are deeply spiritual beings, and they know how to work with technology. And so it's just raising a lot of things that we need to look at. So again, I'm not saying Christianity, you cannot be a Christian and believe in this, but it's going to make you ask some deeper questions about that. Again, saviors, and was Jesus an extraterrestrial, or was he not, or extraterrestrial sinners? And I'm not just talking about
some of the Christian groups, like
it's going to be. But you know what?
It would take preparation.
I don't know how you can. Well,
it's hard. It's hard. They're so behind. You can
prepare. The government is trying to prepare us, but see, they're always going to do it from their own narrative.
Well, of course, yes.
Which is going to be fear-based. I mean, 20 years ago, when I was talking about this, there were next to no clergy talking about UFOs and extraterrestrials. Then we got now a lot of our more conservative or evangelical brothers and sisters, they're talking about it, but now they're saying they're the devil, they're evil. Okay, but that's a big jump. Before, you wouldn't even talk about it at all. So human evolution is slow, it's glacial. What we fear what we don't understand. And so this is what we're going through now. If we're not careful, we will get a narrative that says, yes, these beings exist, but they're our enemies. And that's what you want to watch out for, because we always need an enemy.
Well, that's war is money.
Yeah, we always need an enemy. And so we'll see how it all plays out. I feel that the way to contribute for me is to just one-on-one, or doing my energy work and what have you, taking care of my part of the garden, and some things are above my pay grade. They're not taking my calls at the White House. No one's called me and said, Reverend Carter, what do you think about this? So,
you sure you didn't miss the calls?
Oh, no, I wouldn't miss that call.
Jill's calling me every week, and I just let it go to voicemail.
I wouldn't miss that call. But these are exciting times we live in.
Right.
I mean, our government and governments around the world, but our government is pretty much saying that we're not alone. But again, it's going to be a spin. And, I get it. I get it. I just, it's the fear thing that kind of gets me, because, look at the world we're living in now. It's a lot of fear, and it's a lot of conflict, but we'll see where we go with it.
Right.
It is scary. I'm afraid of it. So I understand that. I'm very afraid of it, which is crazy with the work that we do.
I know.
I'm afraid of that. But it's true. But I'm also afraid of spiders. So, come on. But I mean, I have such fear of it. And I believe that a lot of it was, I was born in 1969, aging, but I was born in 1969. And in the 70s, it was all fear-based with that kind of, speaking of alien and speaking of, no one talked about
Everything.
being abducted.
Roswell
It was
changed
always
everything.
torture.
Roswell changed everything.
I am turning 54 this week, and I have never watched a full episode of Star Trek. I've never seen Close Encounters. I haven't seen any of it.
Mine 5 years ago. It was the first time I watched Deep Space Nine. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm glad. I'm glad that happened for me, though.
That's good. I'm glad that you enjoy it. I tried with the first one and I was dying of laughter. I go, no, this isn't for me. I'm going to have to find something a little bit more current. But the closest I get to sci-fi is The Big Bang Theory. Sitcom, like literally pop culture queen here. But it's tough because I look at the things that I saw. And I mean, Star Wars, I think it came out when I was about 9 or 10. So that scared me that was a possibility. When I heard my brothers, I have 3 brothers. So when I heard them talking about it, I was nothing but petrified. So that stays with you. Mm-hmm. How do you talk to someone who has had an experience and is shaking in their boots? What do you say to them?
I say to them that shaking in your boots is kind of natural. And that if you're not shaking in your boots, then you may need to talk to someone with a psychology degree. Because it's not about not being afraid. It's not about that, at least to me. It's about moving on with your life despite that. You know, courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is moving through the fear. Because you have to give me nightmares. You want to integrate it into your life as best you can. But that's with someone, it's natural to be afraid. I know people who say to me, "Oh, I wouldn't be afraid." Did you ask them where they were from? And that's the last thing on one's mind.
It's easy for somebody to say who doesn't.
Because you're trying to this person just walked through my wall, looking very, very different. I'm paralyzed. I can't move. So it's easier to say what one would have done.
Mm-hmm. But
they're not living say that you're right where you need to be. Now let's unpack that a little bit.
Yeah, because it's a similar experience with the demonic.
I would imagine. What I would refrain from doing is try to fix them. And I would do that whether it's an extraterrestrial encounter or not. I do a lot of pastoral care.
I appreciate that.
I'm there to listen to you. I'm there to affirm you. I'm there to help you feel safe. I don't know if the first thing I would do is give you an answer or try to fix you, because that's not what you need sometimes. Sometimes you just need to be listened to.
Mm-hmm.
And that in itself is healing. I think we talked last time about, how many times has it either happened to you or it happened for you where, hey, I got a lot on my mind. I may call Michelle and Michelle, run it down and she'll just listen. And then I may say, Michelle, wow, that was great, man. Thank you so much for helping me. And she may say, boy, I didn't really say anything. I just needed you to listen.
Mm-hmm.
She does that twice a week with me.
Yeah. And I ask people that, or what do you want me to do? Do you want me to give you my opinion? Do you want me to listen? I mean, it's just powerful to be affirmed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so that's where I would start. That fear is okay.
I
don't say that I've never had an experience. I just say I don't recall.
Well, this is what makes this question from Wayne, if you want to read that out, Amelia.
Wayne is like my 4th brother. Wayne says, Amelia, do you think at some unconscious level you don't watch sci-fi because it reminds you? I said me. Oh, that was a slip.
Reminds you of
your extraterrestrial encounters, but I said me instead of you.
Maybe it's just so deep-seated, I think is what he's trying to say, that maybe you're fearing what you see watching Star Trek or Star Wars because maybe you've seen something on an experience or contact that resonates, like different, extraterrestrial beings, for example.
I don't know. I'm kind of, I mean, Dan asked, what were you scared about Star Wars. Well, I was 9 or 10. Darth Vader is a really intimidating character when you're 9 or 10. The stormtroopers, that's very intimidating for a child. That's why I was really young when I first, I didn't see it. My brothers went to go see it, but I did hear a lot about it.
I mean, if you think of Gene Roddenberry, allegedly Gene Roddenberry was solicited to write Star Trek to gear people up for extraterrestrial contact. A lot of people don't realize that. You look at some of the things that go on in Star Trek, that was to gear up, as a society, as a race of people. I mean, there's a lot of stuff about Gene Roddenberry meeting the Council of Nine, who are these really supreme extraterrestrial beings who do monitor things. And not a lot of people have contact with them, if this is indeed a thing. And they were supposed to come back, meet with him years later, and he died. But, you look at everything, it was so ahead of its time back in the day. Believe it or not, people look at it and go, God, it was hokey. But it was so ahead of its time as a TV series. And, you got the Klingons, and you got the Ferengi, you got all these different races. And this is apparently what it was for. To prep us for this day, and it's still going on.
But the first season, not that we're talking about TV because I'm referencing what happens. The first season ever for Star Trek was corny. I mean, green men, and it was fitting of the times, though. It was fitting of the times. There was a lot of censorship on TV back then too.
Sure.
So so maybe I'm just starting at the wrong point. Maybe I need to start at a different.
Maybe you need to start with Deep Space Nine. That's one of my favorites.
I get bored with them too, though. I did love that one film that I watched. I don't know if it was called Arrival. What was it called? That was a fascinating film where they communicated with them on board. They were called in by the government. You said to me when I told you I watched it, Michelle, you said that is so accurate. But I have to figure out what film that was. That was the one that really opened my eyes when it first came out.
Right.
That was like, wow, this is something I can relate to. This is something I can understand. The struggle of communicating and how she was able to learn from their symbolism that it was a language. Contact.
Abbott and Costello. I love that movie. It was fantastic.
What?
Have you seen that one? Michael?
No, I'm talking about the one with Amy Adams.
Okay, that one. Oh, okay. I'm looking at the film.
No.
Because it was very detailed about maybe what people would experience.
No, this was recent.
Okay, I don't know. Yeah.
I know, and it was so good. And I bet you've probably seen it, Reverend, and you don't even realize it.
No, I know I haven't seen that one.
Oh, okay, then you need to see it because that film is so incredible. How it's called Arrival.
Oh, I've seen Arrival.
Yeah.
That one I have seen.
That's the film where she goes on board and they bring her in there and she has to go through all kinds of preparation. And
excellent. It's
excellent. And it's not fear-based. It's not fear-based. I think anyone who has any fear, because I did, and I'm just putting it out there if you're listening, if you have some fear, watch that film. I mean, get Reverend Michael's books, first of all. Watch that film. It makes a big difference.
Right. I agree. I what I like about even yourself, Michael, with Preston, is you write about things that isn't fear-based. Amelia made a perfect point. It's not fear-based. It's supportive. It's showing happy endings. You have to understand there's a whole movement with the CE5. People are going out there summoning and asking for people to, or for these beings to come and communicate with them, in a somewhat controlled environment sometimes. People are doing it on their own. And you have a whole other group of people saying they're going all like, no, don't do things like that. That's ridiculous. You don't know what you're bringing onto yourself. So what do you say to people who are like, no, I'm just going to go throw caution to the wind and do it?
Well,
is it a spiritual thing or is it a scary thing?
Some spiritual things can be scary because a caterpillar becomes a butterfly, and the you that you are now may not be the you that you will be after you go through what you go through. I would just, I mean, I can't tell people what they should and shouldn't do, and I would not begin to say that. I would just ask them, what is your intent? Are you doing this because you're curious? Are you doing this because somehow you think people who have had contacts are special and you want to be part of a special group? You know, you would just ask yourself, why am I doing this? And then if you come up with an answer that is that resonates with you, then, you know, so be it. I mean, we're all we're all adults. I don't do it. I've had and still have my experiences, so I don't feel like I need to do it. But you know, it's like my mom said when I was younger, it takes all kinds to make a world. But you know, it's, to me, it's going to be transformative. But anything is about intentionality. Everything is really about, why am I doing what I'm doing? And if you,
do you think people feel safer doing it in a group, maybe?
Yeah, I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do. But even then, why? I remember a couple, right before COVID, I forgot the conference that I was in. I was on a panel, you know, all the UFO conferences have a panel, and all the speakers are there. And there was a woman who was angry that she was not being contacted. And she says, well, I meditate and I pray and I do all these things. She was really
wow.
angry.
No, I'm laughing because Michelle.
That it's not a competition. And, you know, I can't answer why no one's coming to you. But my question to her was, why do you want this to happen? Well, you know, and then if you can answer that, then you know what your next steps are going to be. If it's an ego trip,
that's harder.
Then that may be an answer.
Oh wow, I never thought about that.
So I think people have to work that out for themselves.
Sorry, I got a fly, and last time I had a fly, and it's moving around. It was on the damn lens. Remember? My whole face was blocked off by a fly last time. Sorry, it's driving me crazy. It's the weather. Okay.
But in this book, you express that you feel that they are here to help, maybe in some way, that they're monitoring and maybe preparing us. So,
well, let me jump in real quick, Michelle. I'm not saying they all are, because I don't know what they are.
No. Yeah.
I want to be real clear with that.
No. Not trying to go down that road. On average, some are. You have good people,
but I don't know. He may be right, but I don't know.
Goody tea, baddie teas.
I know that my experiences in the long run were positive, and that's why I wrote my books about this book and some of the other books, because we were only hearing at that time. I was only hearing evil grays, anal probes,
what's to be afraid of,
you know, and it was getting to be painting with a broad brush that all of these beings were negative. And I think we talked about that, you know, we do that on Earth. We put each other in boxes. You know, if you get robbed by a black person on your way to work, does that make all black people, does that make all of them evil or bad? Well, we were doing that with extraterrestrials. If a group of grays you had a bad experience with, then all of them, all the grays are bad, and that's simply not true. And that was the motivation for me to come out with my stories. I'm not saying that brothers and sisters who, like when Bud Hopkins was alive, and Bud and I were friendly, and Bud regressed me. He wasn't the first one. Dr. Gene Mundy was. But, you know, Bud's group was people who had horrible experiences, terrible.
Right.
And so I was in another group that was more kind of aligned with John Mack. This was like, yeah, boy, I got like the bejesus was scared out of me. But look at my life has changed and da 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 da. So our groups would get together maybe once or twice a year. It was like oil and water, but we did. This is when I lived in New York.
Right.
But again, the intent, there's that word again, was let's not paint them all with this brush. I know people who've met reptilians. I have. They never hurt me. I know people who have ongoing relationship visits with them. Same thing with Grace. I mean, there's so many species out there.
Right.
And so I just wanted to stop that, because that's the fear-based stuff that people will play on and use. And the next thing you know, now Russia's no longer an enemy. Well, probably will be, because that's all manufactured. But now it's going to be extraterrestrials are an enemy too, and we start just living. Where does it stop?
Oh, I hope not, because
Where
that's
does it
one
stop?
that we're never going
Well,
to
that's
win.
why I
Yeah.
wrote the book.
Right. To take away from that, I always say just go back to ancient times. People revered and emulated who they respected, and what they saw. And all over the world you see a lot of, just look at the architecture. Reptilians, you have grays, you see this stuff everywhere. It's not like this look back like thousands of years, tens of thousands of years.
Yeah.
It's all there. But
yeah.
I feel that there is a lot of stigma attached to that, which will bring me out. I'll come back and hold on just to.
Oh, Stevie, no wonder. Hi, Stevie. Why are people taken against their will, kidnapped in the dark at night? Just doesn't sound like there is consent. Those encounters, not the more positive ones.
I have no answer for that.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
I just know my experience.
Yeah.
And I know this. What you focus on, you create.
Oh, you got a reader.
So I can listen to those brothers and sisters who've had those experiences. I don't know. If I knew the answer to that, we could split the Nobel Prize money.
Yeah.
I do know that I would tell someone that, okay, that happened to you. But let's work on that. But let's also remember that there's good in the world, that there's good as well.
Mhm.
Absolutely, because you can ask the same of humanity. Why are
fear sells?
Yeah.
And so you don't want to be an ostrich, but I do know that what you focus on, you create. And so how can we shift the narrative a bit? Get you healed. Let's deal with what's going on with your contact experiences and move through that. That's how I would work. But I mean, I have no way of knowing why people are taken without their consent. That I wish we did know that. I don't know anybody who does know it.
Sometimes I just feel that it's the same as humans. I mean, we have good and bad. We have a lot of victims in our society. We can ask why this child taken, why that person raped, why that person shot. It's the same. There's good and bad in every being.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I would agree with that. I would also try not to deal in the polarities. In the Western mind, it's either black or white.
Yes.
It's good or bad. And life is not like that.
No.
It's a little dark in the light and a little light in the dark.
Yeah.
And so maybe it starts out dark, and you take that and it shapes and molds you, and you wind up helping people who are having that experience because you've been through it, and you can say, hey, look at me. I've made something out of this. So it's like the Taoist symbol, the one side is dark and one side's light. That's
right.
Life. It's a lot of gray in between.
Absolutely.
And the Western mind, we always want, because it's easier. It's either good, you're either for me or you're against me. but there's always middle ground.
Right.
I agree with that. Some of the strongest advocates have come from the most horrendous trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's true. It's true. It's funny. I've always been cautioned about not, whenever I talk about hypnosis, they're like, don't do it. I mean, even Joe, our producer, was saying, it was like, he goes, you can't undo that. So you really need to make sure that you're prepared, for what you may hear, because you may not be able to forget that. And can you cope with it?
Yeah, that's a great point, Michelle. Yeah, yeah, that is. You are right. And I have friends who have said, you know what? I think I had an experience. I'm not sure, but I'm not curious enough to go through it. I'm not ready for the answer yet. And why not? I agree with that.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. You got to let people, have agency. You got to let people decide what's good for them.
Yeah.
And sometimes that could be just listening. Again, I don't want to underestimate the power of a good listener. It's an art form, and I think we've lost it because we always want to fix. Let me give you an answer to that. You know what you should do? And it's like, hey, don't lay that on me.
Yeah.
I just want you to listen to me. If I need you to give me some feedback, I'll ask you for it.
Right.
Or you can ask. I ask people when they come to my office for pastoral care. Someone's coming tomorrow. And we'll sit down, and they've come to me before, but I will ask them, what do you need from me? Because that way you're giving them, because some people haven't even thought it through. What do I want from you? Because everybody wants something. You're kidding yourself if you don't believe it. But I would just say, do you want me, or if they tell me this story, not about UFOs, but whatever it is, I'll say, okay, do you want feedback from me? Do you want me to, what do you want? And but it's a great way to center yourself and to cut away the BS. Because people will say, you know what? I haven't even thought of that. I haven't even thought about what I want. Well, okay, then you want to come back? You want to take a few minutes? That's how adults do it.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you need? What do you want? I didn't always do that. And let me rush in to fix. Let me rush in to help. And sometimes I made it worse.
I think it's instinctive, if you have somebody you care about comes to you with something like that, it's hard to advise when you know nothing about it. And I think a lot of things get mistaken. I know in my case, I mean, maybe they go hand in hand, like I dealt with a lot of paranormal stuff growing up. I've also been I come from a family of seers and but I also know that I had extraterrestrial experiences that I blocked out a lot of because I started, as I got further into this field and branched into ufology, I'm just like, wait a minute. I mean, I worked with people, at least 50% of them were having extraterrestrial contact while having paranormal experiences. I started putting two and two together. I'm like, oh boy, I think this wasn't so much paranormal. In this case, I think it may have been this. And I just came to the realization, probably a couple of years ago, and I said, okay, I'm going to do this. And all it took just to show people, about having a telepathic connection, all it took for me, I didn't have to do CE5 thing. Mine just sounds like it'd be a lot of fun, but I just put it out there. And I think it comes because there was contact at a really young age and there's already that link. And I just said, okay, I'm ready now to move further. And heck, like a month later, big blast of light comes through the house. And I'm just like, then I started feeling hands and fingers on my head. And I was like, Bubbles, there's shit going down.
Hell to the no.
I know.
Oh, hell to the no was
Someone's
my
touching
answer.
my head. I don't like that. Don't touch my hair ever. But it was just, while I slept. And then I started being pointed in different directions while I was researching for the other show that I do at the time with Joe Montaldo. And they just kept sticking me in different directions. And I'm like, how did I get here? Or, Amelia and I'd be working and she'd say, okay, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't know, just do blah, blah. She goes, is that going to work? I'm like, I don't know. It just came to me. I don't even know where it came from. Stuff like that. It happens.
Because I'm the natural doubting Thomas. I question everything. It's my nature. I question
Well,
everything. And I know that I shouldn't question anything that comes from her. I know that. It's just something that
it's instinct. Like where'd that come from?
I always ask. And it's not that I'm questioning whether it's right or wrong. I'm just, I have to hear it again. So I'm thinking out loud.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, again, you know, at the beginning, Michelle, you said something. When you care about someone and what have you, how to advise. But remember, you're not advising. You're asking them what they need. They will tell you what they need. And then you go from there. It's not a trick question. It just puts the onus back on them to take that responsibility. So you're not advising. You're asking them. If they say, yeah, you know what, Michael, what would you do here? What would you do? You know, now you got places to go.
Right.
The other thing again, and this is my thing, because I'm very Eastern philosophy is really resonates with me. The Western mind, we are taught to question.
Yeah.
And to question, and there's a context for that, to peel the onion. However, the flip side of that, though, is as Kierkegaard said, life is not a problem to be solved. It's, you know, it's an experience to be lived. So you can just, because see, questioning can keep you up here and keep you from going to the heart chakra. And I in the Western mind, that's why Buddhism or some tenets of Buddhism are so difficult for the West, because Buddhism would say, most schools would say, you got to experience this. You don't have, you know, we're trying to get you out of your head. And the West, because if I can name it, if I can label it, then I'm in some sort of control. And what spirituality does, and I think whether it's an NDE, an OBE, extraterrestrial experience, I know. I think we talked before. A friend of mine had a eureka moment jogging in San Francisco one morning, watching the sun come up. You can have it through Kama Sutra. You know, you can have it through sex. You can have that feeling of oneness through an orgasm. There are many things, life-changing things, to make you go, wow, this is bigger than I thought it was. But but if you keep questioning everything, it keeps you from letting it in. If I keep questioning it, I can control it. It's out there. I don't want to get close. Why did that happen? Well, how come that? Well, why does that? Well, what does that mean? Why did they do this? Why did that happen? And you see what that does? It keeps it away from you.
Right.
It's a different type of questioning.
It was a different kind of energy. If I'm questioning you, I don't have to let you in.
Questioning a person, with abilities, it's different.
Anything. I don't have to let it in, because it's okay not to know. It's okay to say, you know what, I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah.
And I don't need to know the answer to that. Like a few 20 minutes ago, someone said, well, why do they without your consent? I don't know.
No, that's important.
What creates the fear also, I think, is just because of the fact that
of not knowing. But there are some things that you may not know.
Right.
There's some things that it's okay not to know. But what you need to know, I think, is, okay, what am I going to do now?
Right.
That's what I need to be thinking about. How can I navigate this to go forward? I have, I have a family. You know, I got another life where I got my books. I got, and this has happened to me. And I know people who, unless you're talking about this, you can't have a conversation. And I've had to drift away from them because they're stuck.
Not
they're
about
stuck.
me.
Doesn't make them bad people. But, like I said, I'll be 66 this year. If I'm lucky, I'll live to be 90. But either way, I may be dead in 30 years.
Right.
So there's more to my life than these experiences. What can I glean from them to be a better person? maybe learn something about how to love or how to
Right.
be more authentic or that kind of thing. But
Right.
you can get stuck and life is going by.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Life is going by.
I want to jump back real quick.
Yeah.
Okay, Lakeisha, I'm just going to jump ahead to part of your question. Um, so just because we have other comments and questions to get to. So this is leading up to, well, pretty much here it is. So Amelia, can you get
Hi,
that?
Lakeisha. How are you? Thank you for joining us. Back to the West Boom.
Yeah, it just spins off
Yeah.
it splits in 3 or 4 here.
Okay. Hypnosis. So when you get hypnotized, what do you think is happening spiritually?
Great question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, instead of spiritual, I'm going to put the word unconscious.
Okay.
But I'm not saying don't use that word, but I'm just saying that could mean so many things. But what is happening is that your unconscious is being tapped, and things that you may have put on the back burner because you just don't want to deal with, or fear, or sometimes there's a block there. Sometimes that block is the block we put on ourselves. Sometimes there's been times where the extraterrestrials have put a block on and said, they don't need to remember this now.
Mm-hmm.
But your unconscious is being tapped. And so things that you were repressing can come up. And to me, that's the beauty of it. If you get someone who's very skilled at hypnosis, they don't ask leading questions. They kind of let you tell the story. They're not putting their agenda on you. And that's where the healing part comes in, because you're laying a burden down.
Mm-hmm.
You're laying a burden down. I was carrying this thing, whether maybe I was incested or my dad beat me or maybe I was on a ship, whatever it was, I was so afraid of it that I put it down, and a skilled regressionist comes along and says, and making it a safe space, and says, hey, you don't need to carry that anymore. Let me help you take that.
Yeah, it's
that
a different
baggage,
state.
that luggage. And
Yeah.
that's the beauty and the freedom of it. But you need to have someone that's skilled.
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
Because otherwise more harm can be done than good.
I think that's what the fear is about her.
Well, then it's more of a fear. It sounds like, Amelia, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it sounds like a fear of being vulnerable.
No, you wouldn't know because you didn't. I read her comment. That's what I was going to get to.
Yeah.
Because there's so many coming in, it's hard to catch them all at once.
We've got 7 streams coming in.
Yeah, it's hard.
You have to be able to trust.
But yeah.
And if you have a hard time trusting, then you're going to have a hard time with hypnosis, because you're going to have to be vulnerable.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean no forever, Lakeisha. It just means not right now.
Yeah, it's difficult, but it's not, if that makes any sense. I think that we tend to, let's face it, we use a very small part of our brain. We are kept so busy in life. 2 jobs for some people. You have families, you get home from work, you make a quick dinner, get the kids off to judo or soccer or homework. We're always running. The highways are jammed. We're just sitting there. We're on a subway with all our closest friends, I don't think we take enough time for ourselves to allow ourselves to experience what we were made to experience. To evolve how we were meant to evolve. Now, everybody does that differently. Not everybody's meant to evolve at the same pace. Not everybody's meant to be a part of your journey for more than a certain time. But we all come across one another for a reason. But I think if we were allowed or made a point of just taking even 15 minutes a day to sit down and reflect, then maybe, just maybe, we would start to see and allow ourselves to experience.
Very important.
It changes the quality of your life as well. There's this total need to just I don't know. It's just ridiculous. It
Mm.
really is. Sorry. Sometimes I feel like I never should have lived on this part of the world. Like I'm in the wrong spot. When I see how other countries, how their people are living, and all that matters is that moment that they have with their friends or their family in the cafe, or whether it's wherever it is.
It's too
Here, it seems like
fast-paced.
we're always chasing after something. It's horrible.
On a beach
Pardon?
somewhere. There
No,
you go.
even it doesn't matter. Even in Rome, when you see the lifestyle, how relaxed it
Yeah,
is,
it's very different.
and how content they are.
Yes.
You know,
Some parts of
it's
the world
just
are very
sad.
different.
Yeah, it's terrible. That's what I'm saying. Like this side of the world is so different. You know, I see my family;
yet
they don't have the
everybody clamors
stresses
to
that
get
we
here.
have. Pardon?
Everybody clamors to get here. You know.
I know. I know.
So, I mean, with all of this, you know, disclosure going on, I see a lot of fear-based stuff coming up. You know, new video just surfaced. Oh, look at another video of UFOs swarming, you know, swarming a military or naval ship. And there seems to be more of that than anything else. And I have my own views on that. You know, I personally think it's us. It's not so much, you know, them. So that's going to add to that fear. You know, here we're talking love, light, let's do it. Let's, you know, like this could be a really fantastic experience. Once, you know, I explored, and Amelia and I explored what was going on with me, I became extremely relaxed about it, and all these amazing things started to happen. She's on, you know, this journey with me. She's like, no, man, I'm not doing it. she's not ready. I don't care how wonderful it may be for you. Yeah. I want nothing to do with it.
No, but it's also the life I had, because I worked in crime for so many years. That's something I can control, turn on and off. And then I meet Michelle in 2018, and by like 3 months later, 2019, I'm working on the dark side, which is something I swore I would never do. So it's just, I'm not ready.
I had cookies.
Not ready. Yeah.
As they say. No, but you know, we have all of this fear mongering going on. And there are people having experiences. Maybe people don't want to talk about it. Maybe people are willing to talk about it. But what you see on the news, let's face it, it's all going to be like, we're coming back full circle to where the beginning of the show was. They have their own agenda and their own way of breaking this to us. And of course, it's always a scary way.
Yep.
So how do you break through that machine?
I think you talked about it just a few seconds ago. And it's so simple that people will go, oh, come on, Michael. Spending the time to meditate. Spending the time to contemplate. Because what meditation does is it turns that down. And you start peeling the onion, the proverbial onion of who you are.
Right.
And it cuts through the fear. It cuts through. And even if you have the fear, you are coming from your center. And that way, because as we go on to 2023 and beyond, there's going to be things happening fast and furious. And if you don't have a spiritual center, now for some people that may be religion, but I'm not talking about religion. Everything you read in the news is going to create some type of stimulant for your nervous system. And so you talked about it. And also, you know, sometimes you got to turn that stuff off. You know, I saw the thing about the Navy ships, see them swarm. I just didn't look at it. Not because I'm overwhelmed with it, which at times you can be, but you know where that's coming from. You can see it. Ray Charles can see it. Stevie Wonder can see it. You can see that our nation, our government is trying to set us up that this is going to be the new enemy.
Right.
And if you are an experiencer and you've had a positive experience, or if you're just a regular old human being that's trying to do the best they can, you know what fear can do. I can control you when you're afraid. I can trigger you when I can keep you afraid.
Right.
And so you just have to, because I'm going to be honest. I'm talking for me now. I don't expect my government The same people who've been lying to me about this for over 70 years.
Right.
I don't expect them to all of a sudden they're going to tell me the truth out of the goodness of their heart. I don't expect that. I
Right.
don't. And
No,
I think
I agree.
that if you do feel that, I got a bridge for sale. The only reason that they are disclosing what they are is because of this.
Yes.
Well, that's my daughter, but this phone.
Beauty. There we
And
go.
one day, somebody's going to take a picture of not only a craft, but one day someone's going to catch a being coming out, and they're not going to be able to explain that.
Right.
So in order for me, I'm the government, to get ahead of this, I need to start saying, okay, I need to be, what can I do here? I need to start saying, okay, I need to change the narrative. Yeah, maybe they do exist, but you don't trust them. They're over our missile silos.
Well, Stephen Hawking said the same thing.
You don't have to be a genius to see what's going on here. And if you want to look at it, remember what Werner von Braun told Carl Chosen back in the 70s before he died, that there was going to be the Middle East was going to be the enemy. I'm getting this sequence wrong. First it was Asia, then it was the Middle East, then it was Russia. And he said the last card that's going to be played is going to be the extraterrestrial card. He said that back in the 70s before he died. Right. So whoever's thinking this stuff up while we're asleep, they're thinking of what we're going to do 10, 20, 30 years down the line.
Right.
And now we're seeing it. We are seeing it. And so you got to be vigilant. And the only way to do that I know of is to keep your spiritual life in check. So you're not thrown by every new thing that comes along. So you can gain some insight. Meditation helps you with your insight. It keeps you grounded. Obviously, it's good for you physically and spiritually. But that way, when something comes along, you're not, oh my God, look, your nervous system is not overloaded, because frightened people are easy to control.
Raises your cortisol. It
you just
changes
said, I can control you.
You can't even function.
Look out for that. He's your enemy. She's your enemy. Gay people, your enemy. Trans people, your enemy. Black people, your enemy. White women are your enemy. Extraterrestrial. It's this bombardment. You don't have enough money. You don't need this. You don't have that. There's not enough of this. Buy all the toilet paper. Get all. Watch out. Look out. Look out. And,
you're right, though.
And now I got you where I want you.
Yeah, you're
and
right.
Now you're overworking.
And what are they actually distracting you from?
Yeah, especially when you turn on the TV. It sounds like Reverend Michael. That's what it sounds like when you turn on the news. It sounds like they're shouting at you, and they're.
That's why you got to turn it off.
Yeah, exactly. I don't watch the news. I watch it once a week.
I'm not just talking about the news. I'm talking about noise, period.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Michelle said it 20 minutes ago. Get some time to be quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Get some time to contemplate. Go in the woods, whatever you got to do. Mm-hmm. That you can do for yourself. And you're worth it. She said it. You take 15 minutes. You're worth it.
Absolutely.
But it's the gift that keeps on giving, because as we go ahead, this is going to get more so.
Yeah.
Because people are waking up. And in order for me to keep you in control, I've got to keep throwing that fear at you. I don't want you to wake up, because when you wake up, then you're going to see things for what they are. And we can't have that.
Right.
We need to put Lakeisha on this show.
No, I agree. I think, like I said, we don't take the time to pay attention, and everybody's always looking to the stars. There's probably just as many, if not more, right here on good old planet Earth. And let's face it, you hear me say it how many times? It's not our first kick at the can. We're probably the fourth run, of civilization on this planet. And there are, just go and do research on out of place artifacts. Just go and do some research on ancient history and things that they're finding in locations that don't make sense, that are going back millions of years, sometimes hundreds of millions of years. You know, we're not the first, and we won't be the last. I think we need to, like you say, we are evolving, we are awakening. There's so many people who have been asleep who are now saying, no, that's it. You know, this doesn't make sense to me. If it doesn't make sense, or if you have to question it, you know, I'm sorry, I'll wear that tinfoil hat proudly. Because,
well, that's why, well, you know, and even
know.
in the book, even in the book, Initiation, there's
Right.
data. And there's more data that I don't have in the book, of people who, you know, they were chasing that dollar. They were just chasing money and sex and just living this whole materialistic life. And all of a sudden they have an experience.
Right.
Now, again, like I said, it can be OBE, NDE,
Right.
it could be whatever, but they have a transformative experience, and all of a sudden they give up their job on Wall Street with the crazy rat race and all the money. How much money do you need? So they wind up becoming a healer. They wind up, you know, being a Reiki master or massage therapist, or they go into counseling, or they go into Peace Corps. There was something about the experience that made them see that there's more to life than what I'm being told it is. And now I see that and I want to experience it.
Balance
Right.
is everything, right? In anything. That's what I strive to achieve, even though it's a struggle every single day. And I don't think I'm good at it, you know, but balance is everything. And it's can be
Hey, some
difficult.
people have no idea what the balance is. You say, well, I'm not very good at it, but you know what? Honestly, maybe it's because you just, like, you don't know where that middle point is.
It's difficult because the field we're in, we're always assisting and always helping, but it's like, when do you take care of yourself?
Yeah.
You know, so.
Right. I know. No, I agree with you.
It's hard, and chasing things, like Reverend Michael says, you know, they're always chasing the bigger house, the fancier car, the this, the that. And when you have that moment, you realize, and sadly for a lot of people, when you realize that, Reverend Michael, do you notice that it's usually later on in life, and they're in their last third and they're thinking, I have to make this count?
Well, you know, yes. I'm thinking that too. You know, I'm 66 this year. You know, you know, someone just posted something basically about this, a schoolhouse, and you keep coming back.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's true. But guess
Yeah.
what? Thank you, Mr. Phoenix. But you know, school's out. It's time to start putting that into practice.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yes, we come back, and I believe that. I
Right.
believe that. But right now, in 2023, with all the challenges that are coming on, school's out. It's time to matriculate. We
It's
need
time
to
to
start.
apply what you've learned.
Yeah,
is what
it's
you're saying.
time to apply now.
Right.
It's time to apply now. For
Right.
those who can. For those who are still in the school, okay, we'll catch you next period. But right now, we need you to
Right.
start taking that love, taking that acknowledgement of spiritual truths and what have you, and come on out here, because we need you now.
Right.
Absolutely.
School is out.
Right.
Absolutely.
So don't fear it. Just
No.
roll with it and let yourself open up. I think a lot of people resist it because they fear change. Some people aren't good with change. They don't know where it's going to take them.
Well, yeah, there's the old saying, no one loves change except a wet baby.
Exactly.
But it's not about not being afraid.
Yeah.
It's
Write
about
that down.
moving on through the fear.
Right.
You know, and that's just what it is.
Right.
Because the fear is there, but you can transform that fear.
Right.
You know, you can. And it doesn't make it go away, but you can use it. It's the same thing with anger. You know, you can let anger make you self-destruct, or you can say, I'm going to use this energy and I'm going to make some change. But the change has to begin with yourself. What's the old Rumi quote? When I was young, and clever, I wanted to change the world. But now that I'm older, I just need to change myself.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I just need to change myself.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not afraid of alien beings being around. I just don't want to be abducted.
Well, but Amelia, this is bigger than alien beings. We're talking about what are you going to do with your life?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. This is bigger than that.
And
it is bigger than that. It is.
me,
It is the whole phenomenon. And people are realizing it's not about lights in the sky. It's not about grays or Nordics and all that. It's about the transformation that's needed for growth.
Mm-hmm.
but
That's what this is about.
When you say, like, what made me gravitate to your book was the title, like a spiritual transformation. All I want to say is, from my experience, when I got comfortable with it, and it doesn't mean I'm comfortable with it all the time. There are some nights where I feel or I've sensed things come in, and I'm just like all volatile, like I'm not in no mood, no today, just get away from me. Like it's like this will not be good for you.
I hear about it.
Yeah, you think this will not work out in your favor.
I'm not doing this right now.
Yeah. I just get very aggressive. But I'll tell you, when I am receptive, it is the most incredible feeling. I feel almost a sense of peace. I find, and maybe that's how they're making me feel, so I don't be chirping off. I don't know, but I feel a sense of peace. I feel a sense of warmth, and I gravitate towards that feeling. Like I get really emotional about it sometimes. Like I really love the connection that I've developed. And maybe this because they're making me feel all warm and fuzzy, maybe, but I would rather feel that. And, I wake up from seeing, I'm like, oh my God, I know I was in the stars today. Like, I know, because I remember looking out of a portal, looking out at something. I remember coming up and looking and saying, I think there's something here, worrying I'm going to hit it. And meanwhile, you just go, and you're just, I get used to the sounds. It's a very different experience. And like I said, it's not like it's always that, but a spiritual transformation from the conditioning that I've had growing up with religion. And I'm not ditzing religion. Okay. To all the listeners, I love you all. But I'm just saying, for me, this feeling has just been unbelievable.
Yeah, I use the word transformation because for me, transformation means that whatever you experienced influenced you enough that you changed your life. So I'm going beyond just the feeling.
Right.
I'm going beyond that. I've changed the way I lived.
Yes.
That's the transformation.
Yes.
And so, there's nothing else to say. I was so influenced by this experience, by this person, by whatever, that I changed the path I was on. I changed the way I looked at life.
Yes.
So it
100%.
includes that.
100%.
But it also includes that the examples I gave before.
Yes.
When people said I was on this path, and I was like, wow, and now I'm on this path.
Yes.
So it includes those feelings, but it's
awakening,
bigger.
Awareness, evolution.
Yeah.
It is. It's all of that wrapped up into one package.
I changed my life.
That's right.
So I'm living a totally different way now.
More questions. Did it leave you with more questions? This left me with a lot more questions.
It didn't,
no?
Because
really?
I stopped having to worry about the questions. Because I realized that the questions, I'm not saying don't question, please. There's always a middle ground.
Right.
I'm just saying you can get caught in what Dr. King called the paralysis of analysis.
Yes.
And you can be so busy trying to analyze that you're not living your life. You're actually watching it.
I fall into that a lot.
Yeah. You're not. There's a story about this was many years ago when the Pope was riding around in this bubble and he Pope mobile, and he came to the United States, and this guy was setting up his camera and he wanted to get the right angle, and he was trying to get everything just perfect, and when the Pope came by, he never really saw him. He missed the moment.
Mm-hmm.
He was so busy trying to get everything
Right.
perfect, and he missed it. And he wasn't in on that moment, and that will never come again. It's like when you go away, and your nervous system is so overloaded, and you wanted, you're on the beach, but did I turn the stove off before I left? I know I was supposed to pay that bill, and so you're not in the moment.
Yes,
you can be lying next to your husband, spouse, lover, whatever, and if you're thinking about something else, you're not really there. Your body's there,
Right,
but you're not there.
Yeah, I always say, take that moment wherever you're going for that relaxation, whether it's the forest, the beach, or the pyramids. Take that moment, have a seat, and take it in. Take that deep breath and take everything in with it.
Yeah, but if you're questioning everything, and again, I'm not saying that you shouldn't question, but again, it's a way that I don't have to get involved. I can just be back here asking questions. Instead, is the water cold?
Oh gosh, I don't even ask that.
Well, why don't you come on? Come on.
Yeah.
Come
I
on,
wish
Michael.
I asked that. I just jump in, Reverend Michael.
Yeah,
I just throw myself in.
Right.
Just be in that moment.
Yes.
Because that's what life is about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to hold for one moment because we have to do a sponsor and station ID. This is like the work part of the show. Everything else is good time. Yeah.
The work part, yes. And
bills have to be paid.
Absolutely. And I think
that's part of spirituality. Pay your bills.
Pay your bills.
Yeah. And gratitude is a big part of it. And we're grateful for who.
Amen.
Live your adventure. Live your best life.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes. Love your life. Love your life. You are listening to The Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano, coming to you live from the beautiful city of New Orleans on 105.3 and 107.7 FM radio. Tonight, we have returning friend and special guest, Reverend Michael Carter, with his new book, Initiation. We're discussing everything about him. And we have a lot of people in chat, which I'm really impressed, have said that they have your book, they love your book, and many have said they're going to purchase it. So we thank you again for sharing and for writing that. We love having you here. If you missed it and you're just joining in, don't worry about it, because you can stream or listen to our archives on any platform that you normally use. And I'm not kidding. I'm talking over 200 of them. Okay. So you just type in, we have UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio on Roku, but you can just search United Public Radio and then search The Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and myself. And you will find all of our shows archived way, way back. So if you want to listen to the other shows and you're just tuning in now, you can hear all the other episodes that Reverend Michael was here. Shout out and thank you to the amazing people at Folgers Coffee for fully sponsoring our show from day one and continuing to support us. We love you and we thank you so very much. We also want to say a huge thanks for our intro and outro to Dr. Snick, the sonic surgeon, Justin Snicker, award-winning composer and musician, lending his music and his voice to both our intro and outro. You can find his music on Amazon and Bandcamp and find him on Facebook and Instagram. And of course, it's that time in the show. Please, if you're on Facebook or you're on YouTube, please hit that subscribe, like button. If the notifications irritate you, don't worry about it. Just turn them off. But please support us in that way. We know that you're there. We can see you on YouTube and all of the 7 chat rooms we've got going on. We'd appreciate that support. We're going to scold you if you don't know. Just kidding. We just want to say thank you. I'm comic relief. Everybody knows that by now, right? It's been 3 years. Anyways, we want to thank you for all tuning in. We're going to continue that conversation with Reverend Michael J. Carter.
And I just want to also make note that The Outer Realm for the 3rd year in a row has been nominated for another, People's Choice Podcast Award. So when voting opens, we shall let you know. Yeah, well, we made it to the finals, first year. Last year, we're like, what? This year? Let's see.
Whoa. Well, this is not alcohol. It's just some herb tea, but congrats.
Thank you. I'll salute you with my iced tea.
Salud.
Salud. Cent'anni. That's what was it. Cent'anni means 100 years. Cent'anni.
Cent'anni.
Oh, I love it. Listen to that accent. Were you Italian in a past life?
No, but I've been to Italy. I went to 100. Oh, we can talk about it. 100 years ago, I went to San Remo and Ventimiglia. I was doing a show.
That's right.
And they were riding around on the little scooters and
the Vespas.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Vespas are sexy in Italy, not so sexy here. Right?
Listen, there's a
comic relief.
Well, we'll talk after the show. There's a movie that you would like.
Roman Holiday.
No, it's called Where Do We Invade Next by Michael Moore. And it's about all these places in the world, in Italy. You know, he says everybody there looks like they just got out of bed. But talking about the 4-day work week, the way they do things, more civilized.
Half days.
All over Europe. And it's called Where Do We Invade Next? But anyway.
I love him.
We'll get off of that. I do like Michael. I do.
Me too. Me too.
Right. Well, I know. Where do I even beat that?
Well, you know what? I got to say this. And, because I do a lot of podcasts and, and all of them are excellent. And, this is your congregation. This is your ministry. I'm going to use those words. And the people who tune in, that's your congregation. And you are empowering them. You are affirming them. The information, it's not just information, there's wisdom.
Right.
And so I just want to thank you for doing what you do, because this is going to be a big part of it going forward too. As we go into times that are more uncertain, your shows like that are going to be where people go to get their spirits nourished, to get their courage, to get their fellowship, if you will.
Thank you.
So I just want to say I'm honored to be on. You reach so many people, and you're doing a good thing. And I'm glad you got some confirmation of that, and just keep on keeping on.
Thank you. We love having you. And I have to say, because Michelle put up the Ancient Aliens photo, and for those of you that are listening, and I have to say,
for the new people coming.
Oh, that was 100 years ago. Look at me.
But they're still playing. They're still playing your episodes, and you still look fantastic.
They do.
They're still playing your episodes, because I can tell you, when I hear Preston's voice and your voice, I can distinguish who it is from like 3 rooms down, and I rush to the TV and I start giggling. There's this joy to see you guys
Preston
on the
has that
He's on next week too.
Yes, he's on next week.
I
mean, Preston was on the Kardashians for.
I know.
But I was just like, what do you mean you were on the Kardashians? He said, yeah, Chloe and her, at the time she was married, she said, or dating or whatever. It was some guy. And they had this sighting and he had to go over there. And I go, you were on the Kardashians. I had to search for that episode so I could see what he did. I go, Preston, you're the closest I'm going to get to Chloe. She's my favorite.
I got to see that episode.
Go seek him out.
Right?
But let me share this with you, because believe it or not, I don't really watch the shows that I do. When I first started doing Ancient Aliens back in 2014, 2015, I want to go see, but I just stopped. I show up, they pay me, I do the gig, and I come back. I fly back east. Mm-hmm. But it aired last week. It's called, they did a great job. Lynn Katai, History's Greatest Mysteries.
Oh, right.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah, it's a great show.
I did this thing, not just me, it was Lynn, Alejandro Rojas. Anyway, it's on the Phoenix Lights.
Oh, yes,
and it aired last week.
Story.
We shot it back in late summer, early fall.
Yeah.
It's the 25th anniversary of it. It's like season 4, episode 5. Because Lawrence Fishburne he's very curious about UFOs.
Right.
I didn't know that. But anyway, tune in. It's shameless promotion, but
no.
My wife said
it's your night.
She said, I want to see it. And I want you to sit down here with me and watch it. And I was glad I did. They did
Oh,
a
I
great
love the
job.
support
Yeah,
that
it's
she gives
called the
you.
Phoenix
Yeah,
Lights.
nice.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
it's on the
that
History
was
Channel. On the History Channel.
I love
25
that show.
years of that. It's
I
hard.
didn't even know it was on. History's Greatest Mysteries.
Right. It's
I
a
love
great
that
show.
show.
Yeah, it's a great show. I love it. I love it. Well, I mean, realistically, now what do you have coming up?
You know, what I have coming up is, as far as the phenomenon goes, is I'm going back to Michigan,
Right.
Lake Houghton, Michigan, in September 23, 24.
Mm-hmm.
There's a UFO conference there that's it's UFO Con. The people are wonderful. RJ and Johnson and Deb Johnson, Mary Bassett is
Yes,
a
Deb. Yes, I love
wonderful
Debbie.
hypnotherapist. Bill Konkoleski is there. He's with MUFON, and that's it. And I don't know what else is coming up until as far as this goes. I still got the church work is keeping me busy, and
Right.
my daughter will be in college in about 18 months. And my God, the time went so fast. She just turned 17. She's Pisces, but she'll be gone. So my life is full.
Love a Pisces.
I got more clients coming in with the energy work, and I do some counseling. So that's my life.
You're
trying,
Debbie and RJ.
and wonderful marriage, and
Yeah,
I'm very grateful. Like you said, Amelia.
absolutely gratitude in everything, even
Mhm.
in the hardest times. That's how I made it through. I love my life regardless of what's thrown at me, good or bad. I don't have those kind of regrets. I just know that I'm where I'm supposed to be. It brings me to where I'm supposed to be in this moment. I try to live in the present moment, and it took a lot of pain to get there. But I'm so I love my life. I do. I feel blessed regardless.
L'chaim.
I don't know how to say that, but l'chaim.
It sounds almost
I
like
want-
Klingon.
That's it.
It sounds almost Klingon.
L'chaim. Yes.
I love it. I'd actually like to hear a little bit more about this support group that you do on Facebook. And people can, I think we should give you a good plug on that. I think it's a fantastic thing that you're doing.
Voices of Contact.
Okay.
And the people and the people I just mentioned who are going to be at the UFO conference, Deb and RJ, they put it on. They put the conference on. But Mary Bassett got this idea that we should do. So all 5 of us get together. We tape the shows ahead of time, like we're going to do Monday from 7 to 9, and then they're on at 8 o'clock on Friday. If you go online and just put in Voices of Contact, that should be it. You'll see it on Facebook. I'm looking at it now. The Voices of Contact.
Can you send me the link on Messenger? I will go copy and paste it. I'll grab it and put it here in the comments.
Hold on. I think I'm sending it to you now.
Okay.
I just sent it to you.
Waiting for my little bing.
Oh, please give Debbie my love when you talk to her.
Okay,
we worked a couple of missing children cases together years ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Deborah Johnson DeRoos. So there it is.
Yeah, I'm in love with
I just
her.
sent you their stuff. So, and it'll be on at 8 o'clock. And basically what we do is these courageous experiencers give us permission. Mary regresses them and talks to them. We've only done maybe a month now. So we're getting better and working out some of the kinks. And she plays a piece of it that's been recorded, and we share from our different perspectives what is going on. But the focus is always on them,
right?
Not on us.
Right.
It's on the experiencer. Voices of Contact.
Right. I'm trying, Lakeisha. I'm trying. I'm trying.
Lakeisha wants Michelle on as a guest.
I know. We should just maybe have the group of you guys on, like on a panel show or something, just to get you guys, just give you a really good boost. I mean, we get like millions of people.
I'll cry the whole
I
time.
know.
You know,
I remember you told me the last time I was on, it was like a couple million people.
Well,
We're at
probably
3.
closer to about 2.9.
Yes.
I know.
I was
And
like,
that's not
whoa.
including the archives, Reverend. That
I
is
should have
just you
taken a
live.
bath before I came on.
I
No, I'm
know,
joking.
right?
Yeah, no, but yeah. No,
I
I mean,
know.
that's impressive, but that's what I'm saying. This is what it's going to be like. That like-minded people getting together, open-minded people getting together.
I love it.
And sharing, especially as events will be fast moving.
Yeah.
And you got a place to kind of go and say, can we talk about this? Well, this is what happened. Those are going to be lifesavers.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I believe that, because it's going to get very interesting. Not just with this phenomenon, but life period. With all the things that are going on. Because I believe, and I could be wrong, and that's okay, that a new world is trying to be born. A world of more cooperation instead of competitiveness. A world where we kind of care more about each other. And I think that the old way of commerce and you're not really a human being, you're just a number. And I think that world is resisting it. And they're holding on because they're making so much money and stuff. They don't want that new world to come.
I agree.
Technology changed everything.
But as Nietzsche said, or I think it was Nietzsche, nothing is as powerful as an idea whose time has come. And this is all over the planet. And the old people are saying we can't live like this anymore.
Right.
You can't have 1% of the people owning everything. We want health care. We want women to have more, be in control of their body. We want people of color and to get, this is what's happening. And the old way is saying, whoa, I don't know if we're going to have all that.
Yeah.
Because if we weren't making a difference, we wouldn't have to continue to be lied to.
Right.
So something's
that's
changing.
a really good point.
Yeah. If I got to keep lying to you and keeping my foot on your neck, that means I'm a little afraid.
This thing
that's just my view.
This thing that Michelle holds up all the time and talks about, this is good and evil. And this is balance. This is something that we have to find a balance with because we're being numbed.
But that's the idea.
I know.
Because if you're distracted, then you don't really pay attention to what's really going on. You see these unbelievable things happening in media. So when I see something really like amazing or just trying to draw your attention from everything, I'm like, what don't they want us to see? I automatically become conditioned now to gravitate towards what are we not supposed to see?
Yeah, and that's good that's a good way to question. I would say this though, Amelia. I think technology is like money. It's neutral. It's your intent.
Absolutely.
It's how you use it. And that's one thing. I don't think that's evil. Because remember, we talked about an hour ago about the Western mind. It's good or it's bad.
Right.
But there's a middle ground. And
no, that's why I said it's balance. You really have to know how to balance it.
Because it's like money. It's like people say, well, money is the root of all evil. I say, well, give me yours. You don't want evil. Let me take it.
I'll do good with it.
It's your intent. Mm-hmm. And I think people are afraid. We talk artificial intelligence. It's coming. Robots are here.
Whether you like it or not.
And people are like, oh my God, I get it. But when you go deeper, it's not that they don't like the technology. They're afraid that it's going to be misused.
Absolutely. But that's with anything, though.
Yes.
That's with a politician misuses power.
But I would also add that with some of these beings, who some of them are so highly spiritually evolved, they have the technology. So it's
it can be done, is what you're saying.
Two.
Right.
You can have a deeply spiritual existence and still know how to use technology where it doesn't rule you.
So is that what the higher ups are afraid of? That we are going to see that and see that we can be that evolved and that intelligent without being so cold and animalistic?
I mean, only way I can answer that question is if beings can come here without using gasoline.
Yeah.
If they
Money.
can heal people,
Mhm.
you know how much money would be lost?
Well,
To
pharma
us
would be
that do
dead.
Oh,
it, okay. You know,
absolutely.
cancer research and stuff like that.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, somebody comes. I'll give you. This is. You may not think it's funny. It's a joke. Jesus is on his way to Jerusalem during Holy Week. And on his way there, he's healing everybody and he's feeding the hungry, and the disciples are with him, and everything is going on. So he's right outside of Jerusalem and he sees one more person. This guy, he's homeless, he's sick. And the guy goes over, and Jesus goes over, and right before he lays his hand on the guy says, "Don't touch me. I'm on Medicare. Don't touch me." So, you know what I mean? I mean, you're
Yeah.
losing money.
Yes.
You're
Well,
losing
that's a
money.
big one. That's a big
why
one.
would
Yeah.
we want this? Why would we want extraterrestrials to show us a better way of life if it's going to cost me all this money?
Mhm.
So there are powers that be that are invested in keeping things the
Right.
same.
Absolutely. So are fast food companies, so are processed food companies.
Everything hinders
Everything's an addiction.
the evolution.
Yeah.
Right down to, sometimes the food we eat, the lifestyle we live. I think they've been doing this for so long, and you conform to it. This is part of the evolution, is stepping outside the box and take your life back. I post about it all the time. Live your best life, live your adventure. Love yourself enough, vibrate higher, positive
I
vibes.
think people have to be shown how to do that. It's easy to say to someone, "Hey, you can just do," people are wounded. And so, they've been told look, it took me 50 some years just to get here. I'm a pretty healthy guy. So I think I agree with you, Michelle. I just think that, but we got to go a little deeper, because if I've been told for 40, 50, 60 years that I'm not worthy, that I'm not good enough.
Conditioning.
If I've been wounded, and that's a slow process.
Yeah.
You got to give people some leeway. How can I help you with this?
They're afraid of failing.
So
They're afraid of, and a lot of
to-
people are afraid, like, if I'm not happy, is it wrong for me to have a day where I just want to cry? Like there's, again, it's balance. That's what I mean, that I struggle with. I'm very happy. I'm very blessed. I have a great life regardless of what's going on. My daughter just had a kidney transplant, but I'm so grateful. My husband, her father, was a donor for her. Like, everything happens the way it's supposed to play out. We have our ups and downs right now, but life is good. She's alive. She's breathing. And it's perspective and balance for me. And I'm learning every day. I'm learning. Some days are tougher. Some days you just want to stay in bed and cry. And there's some days where you're just like, this is it. This is great. Take everything and feel it, and then let it go.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I think maybe it's time, this is what I'd like to put out there for everybody who's listening, because there are a lot of people who listen, and, this would be a really good experiment. Why not just put something into the collective consciousness, like putting out one positive thought every day, like I'm a road rager. I'm always like, blah, 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 Jesus, but I try to start my day, even when I post on Instagram, positive, love and light, humor, all this stuff, putting out one really positive thought or word every single day. I know it works because I've experimented with it. I think I've told the story before. I used some like obscure word like swell, because nobody uses swell anymore, hardly ever. Oh, that's swell. So I did that. And you know how many times I saw that on social media, or I saw it show up on a TV show. I'm just like, the word was floating around, a word that I hadn't heard in ages, that you hardly ever see. And the next thing you know, you put it out there. So why not just start putting out positive words, just one a day, and let's just see what happens. If everybody did it, I think we would really be in a totally different space right now.
And it's okay to break too.
Yeah, there we go.
It's okay to break. It's okay.
I think that's a swell idea. Yeah, thank you,
Swell,
Stephen. I
Stevie.
think so too.
That's swell. That can
There
we
you go
change the
again.
word though? Can we? Can we? Huh? Can we?
Can we? Swell idea.
Which
All
one
right.
did we start with? Because of one of our guests, groovy.
Groovy.
Everything's groovy. Everything's groovy with him. So everything he
Groovy.
posts, I'm like, that's groovy. Gary,
Yeah.
that is fantastic. That is so groovy-licious. Like
It just
again, I'm the
got to
comic
be.
relief. I can't
know.
help it. Three brothers.
So final thoughts as we head towards the end of the show and I do a close. Final thoughts, Michael.
Wow. Well, I think the theme that we've been talking about is change for these 2 hours, and to learn to embrace it. And when you don't embrace it, just be easy with yourself. It's change, and I would just be gentle with yourself, and you do deserve the good that comes in your life. Churches, and I'm part of that. I haven't been teaching that because I grew up with that you're not worthy.
Mm-hmm.
But I've learned that if you don't believe that you deserve the good that comes in your life, you'll never have it.
Right.
Never be happy.
And so you deserve the good. It's hard being a human being, a good human being.
Right.
And so just be gentle with yourself. You are worthy, and you're loved. You are loved.
Right.
Somebody loves you. If you believe in a higher power, they love you.
Mhm.
But you are loved. And just as things unfold, you are worthy, embrace the change, and you are loved. And you'll see your life begin to change for the better.
Right. I like that. And I agree. Change. 2023 been a rocky start for many. It's been a great start for others.
Mhm.
So let's make it the year of change and acceptance.
Mm-hmm. Every day's a fresh start.
Yep.
Doesn't matter if it
yeah,
didn't work
yeah.
today. You can start again tomorrow. You can start again in the
You
afternoon.
can start
Doesn't matter.
again. I want to thank you again. People know where to get my books on Amazon.
Yes.
My email is michaeljscarter.com. My website is michaeljscarter. And if you I have a Facebook page, a fan page, Reverend Michael J. Carter. And if you reach out to me, I will respond. I will respond.
And he does. He does.
I will
That's
respond.
why we keep bringing him back. He's so amazing.
Yeah, I love coming on. I mean, we can always do this. I will always.
You've
make
got
the-
2
I
other
will
books we
always make
haven't
the
talked
time.
about.
Yeah. Yeah. We talk about the good stuff here, the juicy stuff,
We do.
and we do it with love. We're respectful to each other, and that's part of it. You may not get the Nobel Prize for stopping the war in Ukraine, but the way we treat each other is just as important as
And it's a great
diplomacy
start.
did.
It's a great start, isn't it?
Yes.
Well,
You were the
thank
best.
you.
Seriously.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure and a privilege to have you share space with us and get your message out. It's just so insightful.
So let's
so
do it
positive.
again, gang. Let's do it again.
We will. And I will be
Yes.
in touch and I will book you. Because we're
Yes.
filling up quick.
We will do something. I got to
Yes.
watch Preston on the Kardashians. I didn't know. So, yeah.
Oh,
And,
Preston, you'll be in trouble.
Chloe's house.
You're going to have to come and bomb him next week when
I
he's
got to
on.
see him.
He was on Keeping Up, not the new series, Keeping Up with Kardashians,
And
before
this
they
is when he
left
was still
E!
living
Yeah.
in LA, right?
You know
And
what?
now he lives over here. Now he's on the East Coast.
So you
Yeah.
have to get in chat when he's on next week and say, I want to hear about the Kardashians.
Make sure you watch it, Reverend, before
Okay.
next
I'm gonna
Thursday.
try and do it.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yes.
For
He's
sure.
going to kill me.
Oh,
There we go. So thank you. And I will email you. I will be in
thank
touch.
everybody for staying up.
Thank you.
I gotta
Enjoy
get
your
ready for
time
work
away.
tomorrow.
Yeah,
Yes. Well, we'll be talking.
I'll be jealous.
we will for sure.
All right, y'all.
Here,
Be safe out there.
thank you. You as
Okay.
well.
Thank you.
All right.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Well, we have come to the end of another, amazing segment. I'm going to remind people about Roku. Let me just go put this up here. Hold on. present. Let's do this, because people keep saying, how do I reach and find you guys? So here it is. There we are. There really is a channel. It really does exist. And there it is, right here. So, yeah, there you go. UFO, Paranormal, and United Public. That's what you are looking for. And it's got the whole description. It exists. It's there. This is an old screenshot. It's got quite a few members on it. It's doing really well. So please go and check it out. And a big thank you to everybody in chat room. God, you guys are like amazing. So thank you all for tuning in. Big thank you, of course, to Reverend Michael Carter, who's just amazing. Just so proud to call him a friend, and so grateful that he joins us, and he's just full of knowledge. So open door policy, as we say. So thank you, Folgers Coffee, for sponsoring tonight's show. Thank you, Dr. Snick, Justin Snicker. Thank you, Steve McGinnis. Again, remember, get to Roku and stay tuned. We're going to be having a lot of things coming up about these podcast awards. And yes, we are nominated. Yes. And along with other shows on the network. So all of this is going to start coming to light. There's going to be some advertising. There's going to be all kinds of amazing stuff coming up. So just please, stay tuned for that. It's been well, Lakeisha, I'm really glad that you found us, and you've been a hoot yourself. We really do enjoy having you guys on. And thank you. Tamara, yes, thank you. Is this Joe's channel? Yes, it is. So please go find him. Roku, guys, if you have it, check it out. If you enjoy what you see, remember, I'm going to be a harpy right here, right there. Share up. Okay. Just for you, Tamara. Got the big share in there and the big comment in there. So tomorrow night, we're going to be, introducing you guys for the very first time to Jacob Cooper. He's going to be discussing his near-death experiences in his book called Life After Breath. And he's really, really a delightful guy. He's just such another really nice person. So looking forward to seeing what he's got to say. Anyway, guys, thank you. Good night. We shall see you tomorrow.